Hotep, I am the Amen Osiris, the one and only undisputed God of law. We are Deception Stoppers, America's only 4D education service. I'm not a lawyer. This is not a law firm. We don't advocate that you don't support your human offspring. We simply advocate you made them in private, take care of them in private. And welcome you to this lesson. And today, gentlemen, I'm going to teach you how to use the 4D communication against them. All right. In other words, I'm going to teach you how to basically strip them of their words. Once you strip them of their words, they have nothing. Why? What are laws? Laws are written in what? Words. Okay. So it is the words that give the force of law. Without those words, where is the force? None. All right. Just imagine if this was a world without words, or it would be sign language or mental telepathy, but there's nothing written down. Okay. If you take their words from them, what do they have? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. All right. What you see here today is the Section 8 Child Support Enforcement Program, the Glossary of Common Child Support Terms, and the Black's Laws Dictionary, which is the biblios of any good legal fight. Okay. This Black's Laws Dictionary basically interprets their language for the layman. All right. It puts it in layman's terms. There's case laws that come along with it. All right. They cannot be disputed. This is a legal dictionary. I don't care what court you go to, somebody's going to have one. More likely, a judge. Trust me, all judges got a copy of Black's laws. They have to. There's no possible way. Okay. Case laws. So, the Section 8 program is the child support playbook. This is how the 4D crime family plays. Okay. The glossary of common child support terms is their communication when it comes to this playbook and other Title 4D statutes. Okay. So again, glossary of common child support terms. Look at the words common. These are commonly used among the child support workers. Now, let's go here. All right, this is the preface to the manual or to the glossary. The purpose of this glossary of child support terms is to provide a listing of acronyms and definitions of terms used by child support workers. That means that any contractor, the judge, which are contractors, the clerk of the court, anybody who has a contract and who's dealing with Title 4 and being a service provider of Title 4D services uses these definitions. It is their language. The glossary is a valuable reference tool to those who are new to child support. Gentlemen, if you have not mastered these 3 books, you are new to child support. It will serve to break down, now here we go, the barriers of communication with other child support workers. So these words, these definitions, and these words are the communication used between child support workers, right? Judges, prosecutors, again, anybody with a contract. All right. Communication among caseworkers, state to state and nationwide, is a major key to processing cases and collecting child support payments successfully. Their language has made them successful, gentlemen, and you have not mastered it. Okay. In addition, the glossary is helpful to both, here it is, non-custodial and or custodial and non-custodial parents in communicating with the caseworker and to the public at large who desire to understand child support better. Okay. So, number one, this is their language. Their language is what? Composed of words. And if you look through this glossary, it tells you everything you need to know about child support, basic words. Okay. Now, and this is what I love. And the words that you see in this glossary are going to be the words that you also see in the federal definitions of the Title 4, was it 42 USC, all right, the Social Security Act, 45 CFR regulations, Code of Federal Regulations, okay, and any other regulations pertaining to Title 4D, the words come from here, okay? The words come from the glossary of common child support terms. I've got millions and millions of documents. We've got thousands of books based off of child support. Every word that is in child support, minus a few legal words here and there, it comes from this glossary of common child support terms. Why? Because it's their language. Okay? So if you learn their language, then you take their playbook. It shows you who everybody is, who everybody's not. It tells you about the contracts. It tells you everything. The whole 9 yards of child support is condensed in this book out of all the millions of federal statutes. They put it in 114 pages in layman's terms. The reason they did that was for their employees, of course. All right, we just want, because the American Bar Association approved Title 4D for Congress. So that's why if you go look for a lawyer, you're screwed. All right, but more importantly, they put these words in here for a reason. You can't go to a traffic hearing and try to use this information. It's not going to work. It only pertains to Title 4D. Okay? Then what you do is you take your Black's laws and you translate every word that's in here. And trust me, you'll comprehend. Now you can actually hear what they're saying. And you won't be communicating with the caseworker as a non-custodial parent. You'll be communicating as a man. Okay? Now, let's look at some words. All right, and we're going to look at the law of statutory construction, one of them. Every state has a law of statutory construction. What you do is you go to their statutes, you look in Title I general provisions. All right, they usually have definitions, and they will usually have the law of statutory construction, which means anything written in the statute must be built this way, no other way. So, legislative intent controls object and scope of construction of statute. The object of all interpretation and the construction of statutes is to ascertain and effectuate the intention of the General Assembly. So, in other words, every word that they're saying here, this is what our intentions are. Okay? Here is your remedy. Every statute shall be construed, if possible, to give effect to all its provisions. Number one, if possible. What is a provision? A provision, gentlemen, is basically a contract. All right. Look it up. Look up the word provision, and you'll find basically it's a contract. It's a pretty long definition. I'm not going to go into it, but it's a contract. Okay? And it's a contract that they know that you're going to go into. So what gives, every statute shall be construed if possible. So what gives these statutes their force of law? What makes it possible? The words. The words have the force of law, gentlemen. I don't care if it's child support, taxes, criminal, civil, doesn't matter. Words. That's what gives anything the force. Okay? Parents, you tell your kids, go to your room. It's those words. And when they don't, you spank them on that booty. Supposed to anyway. All right, the force of words. When they send documents to an obligor and you read it, right? I'm not even gonna insult you this time. All right, you open it and read it. It's those words that are on those documents that give it the force of law. And the beauty of it is because you don't know what those words mean, change your tampon. Okay? So what makes any law possible to give it a force of law is the words. Consent of the governed. All right? You consent to it. Just words. Okay? YouTube, got any social platform, any building that you go to, any membership that you have, there's rules, and those rules and regulations are written in words, and those words give it the force. Then when you violate whatever rules and regulations they are, the first thing they do is they turn around and they read the words of what you violated. That's what gives it the force of law. And what gives it really the force of law is because you don't know what those words mean. Okay? Gentlemen, I'm telling you and I'm warning you. If you go into a 4D hearing, right, those people have one purpose: to collect money. If you go in there, this, that, they're going to tell you, so we ain't here for that. And I'm sure you've heard that before. Why? They could care less about the paperwork that you sent them. They don't care about it because they still have in their mind, they still have a order. So, bam, what are you going to do? Okay, you don't just send documents and not do anything about it. All right? So, what happens when you read these words? Now, let's look at the definition of the word. Words. All right. Move this out of the way. All right. Words as used in law. All right, even though Title 4D is not law, but just for the purpose of this video, we'll say it is. This term generally signifies the technical terms and phrases appropriate to particular instruments or aptly fitted to the expression of a particular intention in legal instruments. All right, so words deal with legal instruments. What is an instrument? An instrument is a contract, gentlemen. The nature of the instrument. Title 4D is in the nature of contract. It starts with an instrument, whether it's through marriage or paternity establishment. All right, so because Title 4D, they have their own communication. All right, I just showed it to you down here in the preface. This is how they communicate. So that makes these words of art, which are the vocabulary or terminology of a particular art or science, and especially those expressions which are idiomatic or particular to it. Idiomatic is another way for saying duh. All right, look up the word. It's idiomatic. You can see it right there. All right, so every word that is used in Title 4D is idiomatic to it. It applies only to Title 4D. So if you master the Section 8, then you master the glossary by tearing down every word in Section 8 and the glossary. Now what you've done is you've mastered their words. If you take their words, how can they use them against you? If you know what their words mean, objection, that's not what that word means. They have to use these words. Okay? Take away the words. All this right here is just blank pieces of paper. All right? So the same thing works with Title 4D crime family. Take away their words and they leaves them with a blank stare in their face and cotton mouth because they won't be able to say anything. Once you master these two books and tear it down with this Black's Laws Dictionary, all right, there's nothing that the 4D crime family can say to you that you won't know what it means. All right, and until you do, you're failing. You're sending in paperwork. Okay, great. Now what? Okay, you sent in the paperwork. Now what? They didn't respond, or they responded with a blanket BS statement. Now what you gonna do? Send some more papers? All right, you gotta take record, gentlemen. Okay. So I'm gonna show you how people manipulate words, and I'm gonna show you. All right, recently, we basically declared war on Ohio, one of the child support enforcement agencies in Ohio. All right, and what we did was I created for my client a page-and-a-half document. And what I did when I created this document, not on my own thought, all right, but I mean, of course, my perception of what it says. But what I did was I went to their statutes and I used their words, which clearly states that he is in the right to demand such. And that if they fail to close the case upon his request, all right, then he's going to sue him. Okay. Now, this is what happened when they sent him. Well, sir, if I don't know why they sent this information to him. All right, but he got a copy of it. All right, and this is what it reads. It says, "I am sending this to you in the case the judge needs to see it." What's it say? I am not sure how to respond. All right. So this person here, this 4D crime family agent, couldn't respond to their own words and their own statutes and their own playbook. Why? Because more than likely they probably don't know it. This gives you the advantage. All right. Now I'll read this whole. It says, "Good morning," down here. "Not sure about an answer on this. All right. He has sent letters around the state. We have now been sent his letters from the interstate department at the state level," which means, guess what? Somehow the feds got on this one. Okay. "I believe the judge needs to have a look at this, give us his thoughts so we can notate on this in our case. I do not believe we should leave this unanswered because why? We have them. We took their information and we use it against them. They got to answer it now. Where are you going? This is your shit." Now, notice here it says, have the judge the judge needs to have a look at this. Now, this is in Ohio. All right, let me show you how sneaky, again, giving the false impression of some bull. Okay. Look, this is Ohio contracts. And for you brothers out there in Ohio, the reason I'm using this is because, like I said, I just got that emails from Ohio. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to switch over to here. All right, there we go. So let's look at this. This is Ohio Rule 55101, semicolon 12-180. Contracts overview. Okay. Now, I'm not going to go into everything, but it says right here, here it is. The following terms and definitions apply to this rule and its supplemental rules. All right. So here's your statutory construction. All right. These are the definitions. So we're going to go down to 3. Contractor refers to a private or governmental entity with whom the CSA enters into a 4D contract. Governmental entity includes the following entities in the same county as the CSCA, Child Support Enforcement Agency. What is the first one on there? It says court. Okay? Court. Now, we're going to go down to line 7. Ooh, sorry. 4D contract means a mutually binding legal relationship, look, obligating a governmental entity to provide 4D services in a 4D case or perform other administrative duties of the CSCA that pertain to 4D cases in return for payment from the CSCA. Okay? So this contract that everybody has to be under, it binds, it legally binds, it legally obligates a court to provide administrative services or administrative duties. Where's it at? Perform other administrative duties of the Child Support Enforcement Agency. Now, these words they say what they say. They cannot be taken back now unless the legislature changes them. Now, let's go down here. So the Child Support Enforcement Agency, look. So number one, they just gave my man the impression in this email that this document is going to a judge who presides over child support. No, it is not. It's going to a contractor, okay, under their own law. So now, if you notice here, though, it says governmental entity includes the following. All right, look at these, A through G. What don't you see? All right, you see court, prosecutor, sheriff, clerk. You do not see the Child Support Enforcement Agency defined as a governmental entity in here, do you? No, you do not. Which means this judge is now working for a what? We're going down to line 13. He's performing the administrative duties of a private entity, which means a company, organization, or individual that does not meet the definition of a governmental entity. Gentlemen, where'd this alleged court order come from? Okay. All right. Let's have some more fun. Let's go look at the contracts. All right. Types of contracts. All right. Look, sheriff's under a contract. All right. Service process and arrest warrants. But I want to show you the court. A contract in the court, a contract with a court in the same county to provide what? Magistrate services. Here it is. The CSE may elect to purchase. Okay, so guess what? This document is basically it's fraud on its face. Why? Because it never went to a judge. It never went to a legal entity. His document went to a private entity. And when I called them on it, thus is why I don't believe we should leave this unanswered. We took their information and we used it against them. It's that simple. Take their words. What do they got? Like, remember, laws is words. Strip the words. There's nothing but a blank piece of paper. All right. So you must the same way you must learn how Title 4D crime family works, how they enforce it, how they get you to coerce into it. If you don't know it from A to Z, it's going to be hard to beat them, fellas. Okay. It's going to be hard to beat them. More importantly, if you put in paperwork, right? And this is how paperwork should be. You're going to work, you get on the bus is crowded, it's rush hour, everybody's packed in there, no big deal. Somebody steps on your foot, the person in front of you or next to you. And obviously, common sense is like, all right, man, yeah, it's crowded in here. Yo, man, you're on my foot. Now, instead of taking their foot off of your foot, they turn around and say, fuck you and your foot. What are you going to do? You're going to go that whole bus ride with that person's foot on yours, cause you that pain and discomfort, or are you going to punch them in the mouth when they tell you, fuck you and your foot? Okay? So, In most cases, look, get off my foot or I'm gonna punch you in the mouth. Fuck you in your foot. All right, pow. Now you punch me in the mouth. You ain't punching the 4D crime family in the mouth, gentlemen. You're writing documents and getting them notarized, but unless you go in here and look, all right, well, tell you what, you got 10 days. After that, I'm taking you to court. And the beauty of it is, we know the technique, the counter technique. None of them have immunity under their own law. Okay, gentlemen, if you need these booklets, feel free to send us a small donation, and we can get them emailed over to you. If you need training on this information or 4D training period, which I believe you do, all right, contact us at hathorsec@gmail.com, and we'll provide you not only with these manuals, we'll provide you with one-on-one live training. You'll be sitting here face to face with me, and we will show you how to use it. We'll show you how to go to each state, whatever state you're in. We'll show you how to go to their statutes and take their words and use it against them, so they can't come back and say that you're wrong. You're not stealing their words. You're just stopping them from using it. You're using them. I can't use these words because I know what they mean. Once you tear that down, it's like, oh, I don't know how we're supposed to respond. Let the judge see this. Judge ain't seeing jack. There is no judge in Title 4D. All right, gentlemen, my email address is in the description box below. All right, we look forward to hearing from you from this training. Like I said, if you need these books, don't hesitate to email us. I'm the Amin Osiris. Hotep.